My name is Patrick Fitzmaurice. I'm a 40-year member of the Chicago Fire Department, a paramedic chief on Chicago's West Side, and I'm with Paul Vallas for mayor of the city of Chicago. We got a lot of problems in Chicago. The city's awash in violence. It's out of control. It's reached the level that it's just terrible. We have 17, 18, 20 people shot every weekend. We had a particular weekend this summer where there were 37 individual shootings with over 90 people shot. That's got to end. It's got to end. The violence has even spread to the central business district. The Water Tower place was closed down this year because of gang activity in there. That's insane. And the only way it's going to end was with real leadership, real qualified leadership, and that's Paul Vallas. A leader of this city who has a plan and he knows how to put it into action. He understands what needs to be done and he will make it happen. He will end the cycle of violence. This is a tragedy. We have children in this neighborhood who are afraid to use the parks. Parents who are afraid to let their kids walk down the street to go to school. We have seniors who won't go out the door to go get their medicine because they're afraid they're going to get robbed. This has to end. And there's only one way it's going to end, and it's with good, solid leadership, and that's Paul Vallas. He is the leader for Chicago. He is a leader for all Chicago. Another reason why this election is so important is corruption. It hangs over the city like a dark cloud. It is a black eye, it is a stain on the city of Chicago, and it has to end. I've been around for 60 plus years, and it's always been known as a corrupt city. Every year, there's some other alderman or politician going to jail. It's got to end. And the only way it's going to end is with a politician who can't be corrupted. I know Paul Vallas. Paul Vallas has high ethical standards, high moral standards. You won't corrupt Paul Vallas. We need a politician who can govern the city fairly and who can govern the city based on what's good for all of the city, not for what the fat cat millionaires want. Paul Vallas got in the race when Rahm Emanuel was running with all his millions. Paul wasn't afraid of Rahm Emanuel. He wanted to take him on. That's why he came out of retirement. And then Rahm decided to drop out of the race because he knew he couldn't beat Paul in a one-on-one race. So he dropped out. And look who surfaced after that. First, we give Bill Daley. Daley? Really? How many Daleys can run this city? We've had over 40, 50 years of Daleys. It's enough. I mean, Bill Daley, he tries to portray himself as squeaky clean. There ain't nothing clean about him. Take a look at him. He took $25,000 from his nephew who fleeced a city pension for $54 million. Really? I mean, how could he take that money? How in good conscience could he take money from a guy who fleeced the pension for $54 million? Look at his time when he was making millions in the banking industry. He oversaw foreclosures of military veterans' houses. Guys come back from the war fight for this country to lose their house because Bill Daley's bank needed to maximize profits. That's the kind of candidate he is. And next we have Toni Preckwinkle, who's running because she said, I can. I love that. That's arrogance. That's hubris. She's running because she can. She doesn't want to talk about her case to Ed Burke. She doesn't want to talk about Ed Burke, who's charged with shaking down businesses, extortion. That's what he's charged with. And she took money from him. She took money from him and she gave his son a job. Now, when she gave him a job, she didn't give him a job with the water department or streets and sand. No, she gave him a job he wasn't qualified with Homeland Security. Homeland Security, whose mission is to keep this city safe and prepare your first responders to handle any type of emergency. And that's who she gave a job to, a no-show job to Ed Burke's kid. And she wants to be mayor? I don't think so. And then we have Susana Mendoza. Susana is a product of the Ed Burke, Mike Madigan political machine. She doesn't want to talk about it, but she is a product of the Ed Burke, Mike Madigan political machine. The soccer player doesn't want to talk about her connection to Vendor Assistance LLC. Now, this is a company that gave her $42,000. They're also involved in a scandal with Alderman Solis, who wore a wire in City Hall. Now, what Vendor Assistance LLC did was they got companies who were owed money by the city paid. And in return, they received a large fee for that. Susana Mendoza wrote the checks. Do you get that? They get money for getting vendors who haven't been paid money. Susana Mendoza writes the check. That's a direct line. You know another thing Susana Mendoza doesn't like to talk about? She was part of a plan under Rahm Emanuel called fines and fees. She raised the fees on the stickers, vehicle stickers, and raised the fines. Thousands of people had their cars towed under Susana Mendoza. They lost thousands and thousands of dollars, and yet she'll sit there and tell you that she's for the working man. She's for the working family. That doesn't wash with her actions. It does not wash with her actions. The Vendor Assistance LLC shows a clear lack of ethics, and her plan with the fees and fines was horrible. It affected so many families. So many people lost cars and wages because they didn't have a vehicle sticker and they couldn't pay for it. And the next thing you know, their car was towed. That's the Susan Mendoza. That's the true Susan Mendoza. And then we have Gary Chico. Gary is a career lobbyist, also a product of Ed Burke, Mike Madigan machine. He was endorsed by Ed Burke, as a matter of fact. Doesn't like to talk about it, but Ed did endorse him for mayor. And what I really like about him, what's really special, is when he was with the Board of Ed, he recused himself from voting on contracts. Now, when you recuse yourself, that's because you have clients that are involved in the contract negotiating process. And in order to avoid a conflict of interest, he doesn't vote, but his clients still get the business. So 400 times, a world record, he recuses himself. 400 times his clients still get paid. That's crazy. That's the type of government we have to avoid. That's the type of mayor we can't have. A guy who can sit there on a board and control millions of dollars of contracts and sit there and wash his hands of it, but yet his clients still get paid. That can't happen anymore. We can't have that. That's not good government. Well, that's my case. That's it. That's why the Burke Four, in my opinion, are unelectable. And so now we're at election time. It's a pivotal point for Chicago. You have to understand that. And the only time we, the people, we, the voters of Chicago, actually have any power, we have the power of the vote. We have the power to decide who will govern Chicago for the next 4 years. And in my opinion, there is only one choice, and that is a clear choice of Paul Vallas. He's the man with the experience. He's the man with the work ethics. He's the man that can't be corrupted. He is a man that has a plan to fix what ails Chicago, to right this sinking ship. And we have to vote. There's no room for spectators. There is no room for people who don't vote. That is the most precious gift we've been given in this free country we live in, the right to vote. Across the world, people would die for the right to vote. The turnout at this election has to be massive. It has to be a case where the people rise up and say, no more. We're not taking it no more. We're done. You've pushed us around. You've stepped on us. You've picked our pockets for years, and now it's going to end. And it's going to end when we put Paul Vallas on the 5th floor, mayor of the city of Chicago, and that day will become a better day for Chicago, a better day for all of Chicago. Punch 21, vote for Paul Vallas. Let's get some change. Let's get some real government. Let's get some accountability in Chicago. Let's fix this city. Punch 21, Paul Vallas for mayor of the city of Chicago. That's the way it's got to be.